For nearly 14 years, Bruno Mars said very little about his private life. He let people speculate about everything: the rumors, the relationships, the gambling stories, and the inspiration behind his songs. While the world filled in the blanks, Bruno stayed silent. But by 2025, that changed. At 40 years old, Bruno finally began opening up. He spoke about the struggles that shaped him, the people who took advantage of him during his early years, the moments he nearly lost everything, and the heartbreaks that inspired some of his biggest songs. For fans who had spent years wondering who the real Bruno Mars was, the stories were eye-opening. Long before the world knew him as Bruno Mars, he was Peter Gene Hernandez, born in Hawaii on October 8, 1985. Music surrounded him from the moment he entered the world. His father was a percussionist, and his mother was a singer and dancer. Their home was filled with rehearsals, instruments, and performances. By age 4, Bruno was already entertaining crowds. He became famous locally as Little Elvis, performing several nights a week in his family's stage show. Dressed in tiny sequin outfits, he copied Elvis Presley with remarkable confidence and charm. Audiences loved him. His talents soon gained national attention. He appeared on television, performed in front of thousands, and even landed a small role in the movie Honeymoon in Vegas. By the time he was 10 years old, he had already performed on stage hundreds of times. But behind the spotlight, life wasn't always easy. When his parents separated, the family struggled financially. Bruno, his father, and his brother spent periods living in difficult conditions, sometimes sleeping in cars and abandoned locations. There were times when money was so tight that basic necessities became challenges. Those hardships left a lasting impression. While other kids worried about fitting in, Bruno became focused on building a future. He performed as a Michael Jackson impersonator for small paychecks and used the money to support his dream. Every dollar mattered. Every performance was another step forward. Music remained the constant in his life. His home was filled with soul, funk, Motown, rock, and R&B. He absorbed influences from artists across generations. Without realizing it, he was developing the musical versatility that would later define his career. As he entered adulthood, Bruno faced another challenge: the music industry. When he began shopping demos to record labels, executives struggled to categorize him. Some wanted him to fit into a specific image. Bruno refused. He kept the nickname Bruno, given to him as a child, and added Mars to create a stage name that felt larger than life. It was a statement that he would define himself rather than let the industry do it for him. In 2003, armed with just a few $100s, several demo CDs, and a one-way ticket, Bruno left Hawaii for Los Angeles. The transition was brutal. He bounced between apartments, cheap motels, and overcrowded living spaces. Jobs came and went. Money disappeared quickly. Some days survival itself felt uncertain. Then came a small record deal with Motown. It seemed like a breakthrough, but it collapsed almost immediately. Bruno was dropped before releasing a single song. For many artists, that might have ended the dream. Instead, it became the beginning. Through that experience, he met songwriter Philip Lawrence. Together, they formed a creative partnership that would change both of their lives. Alongside producer Ari Levine, they became the Sneezing Tons, spending years writing, studying hit records, and mastering the craft of songwriting. Success didn't arrive overnight. The trio sold songs to other artists simply to pay bills. One song they hoped to keep for themselves had to be sold to avoid eviction. But slowly, opportunities grew. Then came major breakthroughs. They contributed to hits like Flo Rida's Right Round, B.O.B.'s Nothin' on You, and Travie McCoy's Billionaire. Millions of people heard Bruno's voice before they even knew his name. By 2010, it was finally time for his own spotlight. His debut album, Doo-Wops and Hooligans, introduced the world to Bruno Mars as a solo artist. Just the Way You Are became an international sensation. Grenade followed with equal force. Almost overnight, Bruno transformed from a respected songwriter into a global superstar. What made him different wasn't just the music. It was the craftsmanship. He blended classic influences with modern production, creating songs that felt timeless yet fresh. The success continued with Unorthodox Jukebox in 2012. Songs like Locked Out of Heaven, Treasure, and When I Was Your Man showcased his versatility. He could deliver emotional ballads, infectious dance records, and retro-inspired hits without losing his identity. By now, critics and audiences agreed on one thing: Bruno Mars wasn't a trend. He was a genuine entertainer. His performances became legendary. Years of childhood stage experience gave him a level of confidence few artists could match. Every concert felt effortless, even though it was built on decades of practice. Then came one of the biggest songs of the decade. In 2014, Bruno teamed up with Mark Ronson for Uptown Funk. The song exploded worldwide. It dominated charts, packed dance floors, and became impossible to avoid. The success pushed Bruno into an even higher tier of global fame. Yet he kept evolving. With 24K Magic in 2016, he embraced the sounds of late 80s and 90s R&B. The album delivered hit after hit and swept major Grammy categories in 2018. By then, Bruno had become more than a pop star. He was one of the most respected performers in the industry. His tours sold out arenas around the world. Millions of fans packed venues to watch him sing, dance, and command the stage with remarkable precision. Then came another creative reinvention. In 2021, Bruno partnered with Anderson .Paak to form Silk Sonic. Their album, An Evening with Silk Sonic, blended classic soul with modern production and quickly became a critical and commercial success. The project proved something important. Even after years of success, Bruno still found ways to surprise people. In 2024 and 2025, he continued expanding his reach through major collaborations. Songs with Lady Gaga and Blackpink's Rose dominated streaming platforms and charts worldwide, introducing him to entirely new audiences. At the same time, interest in his personal life intensified. For over a decade, Bruno's relationship with Jessica Caban remained one of the most private romances in entertainment. The couple met in 2011 and built a life together largely away from public attention. While celebrity relationships often played out online, Bruno and Jessica chose silence. Fans rarely saw them together. Bruno occasionally referred to Jessica as his rock, but he revealed very little else. Then rumors began appearing. By late 2024 and early 2025, fans noticed subtle changes. Social media activity shifted. Public appearances became rarer. Reports suggested the couple might be living increasingly separate lives. Speculation exploded. Yet neither Bruno nor Jessica confirmed a breakup. No dramatic interviews appeared. No public accusations surfaced. Instead, the story remained wrapped in mystery, creating even more curiosity. That mystery reflected Bruno's entire approach to fame. He understood the value of privacy and refused to turn personal struggles into public entertainment. Around the same time, another headline threatened to dominate the conversation. Rumors surfaced claiming Bruno owed tens of millions of dollars in gambling debts connected to his Las Vegas residency. The story spread rapidly. Social media exploded with theories. Gossip sites repeated the claims. The allegations seemed believable enough to gain traction. But there was one problem. There was no evidence. MGM Resorts publicly denied the rumors and stated that Bruno had no debt with the company. Major outlets reported the denial, and financial markets showed little reaction. Bruno responded in the most Bruno Mars way possible. He joked about it. During performances, interviews, and social media posts, he turned the rumor into comedy. Instead of appearing defensive, he leaned into the narrative with humor. Fans loved it. The story eventually faded, becoming less of a scandal and more of a running joke. In many ways, it demonstrated one of Bruno's greatest strengths. Pressure rarely rattled him. Whether facing criticism, rumors, or personal challenges, he consistently found ways to maintain control of the narrative. By 2025, his achievements spoke for themselves. He had collected multiple Grammy Awards, American Music Awards, Brit Awards, and countless other honors around the world. As both a performer and songwriter, his influence stretched across generations. His work had helped shape modern pop music while honoring the sounds that inspired him growing up. Streaming numbers told the same story. In early 2025, Bruno became the first artist in Spotify history to reach 150 million monthly listeners. It was a milestone that reflected not only his popularity but also the incredible staying power of his catalog. From Just the Way You Are and Grenade to Uptown Funk, 24K Magic, and beyond, his music continued attracting new audiences year after year. Perhaps that's the real reason Bruno Mars remains so fascinating. Behind the awards, records, and sold-out tours is a kid from Hawaii who grew up facing challenges most fans never knew about. A performer who spent years struggling before becoming one of the biggest stars on the planet. And a man who, despite global fame, still manages to keep part of himself hidden from the world. For years, people wondered who Bruno Mars really was. In 2025, he finally gave them a few answers. And somehow, those answers only made his story even more remarkable. Thanks for watching Prestige Buzz. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Prestige Buzz, and turn on the bell notification so you never miss our next deep dive into the lives of music's biggest legends.